Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Magnifying Motherhood. I'm your host, Nicole Ride. Today, I wanted to just kind of have a discussion, basically to myself, but, with you guys. I wanted to talk about how we compare ourselves through social media. And that can be any type of comparison, no matter what stage of life you're at. I do want to note that there will be some parts that could get a little heavy, so I would like to put a trigger warning at the very beginning. I will probably be discussing eating disorders, specifically anorexia and bulimia. And just to throw that out there, if you are struggling with anything like that, you can text the crisis hotline for that. You just text the word home to the number 741-741, and they can help you out. And I highly encourage you, if you are struggling with anything like that or any other mental health issues during this conversation, to stop listening and take a moment for yourself and get the help that you need if it makes you feel worse. I just wanted to throw that out there. But on a more happy level, I just wanted to also say thank you to listening to our Valentine's Day episode and also entering my giveaway. That was so fun to see new faces following me and new friends to share this podcast with. The goal of this podcast, really, I promise, is not to gain followers or become social media famous at all. It is truly for me to learn more from other mothers and other friends that I have on social media. But I do feel like it could help other people as well going through my same type of journey. So that's just why I did the giveaway. And I thought it was so fun to kind of get to know you guys and see who you were tagging and things like that. So thank you so much. As always, you can follow our Instagram, Magnifying Motherhood, and then a period, Nicole. So, okay, let's just jump right in. I asked you guys on my Instagram a couple days ago a few questions about comparison through social media. And let's just throw it out there. This is going to be a super honest and vulnerable conversation for me because I think it's like we all know we're all slightly addicted to social media, at least I am. But it's hard to talk about the nitty-gritty sometimes because it's just one of those things that's like everyone does it and it's just kind of left unsaid sometimes. But I asked you guys a few questions that we'll go over, and I really liked how honest you were with me, and I really appreciate that because I always want to be honest with you guys. And I really am an open book if you know me in person. I'll tell you anything if you ask. Sometimes I overshare. Sometimes I ask people really vulnerable questions, and it might seem a little out there, but it's just because I want to get to know people. It's not like any weird intent or anything. So I was really happy that you guys shared with me how you feel because then I could see like, okay, I'm not alone in this. So that's why I want to share today about comparison because it's huge in our lives right now. I mean, if you think about it, I am 24 years old, and I think since middle school, I had a Snapchat and an Instagram, and that's kind of where it started. So I've had it in my life for probably 10-ish years. I've had social media. I've had Facebook since it basically came out, things like that. So I've been on social media for years, and I've seen how it's grown over the years, and I've seen how I have changed my feelings towards social media over the years. I think we are definitely in the age of influencers, and if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean it's basically a stranger that you follow online who's not really technically a celebrity, like they're not a singer or an actor or anyone famous like that. But they have like hundreds of thousands of followers just for living their lives. Like, just for being either pretty and I'm talking mostly about women here. They have a lot of money usually, and they have a beautiful home that they like to show, influencing for decorations or how they dress their kids, or if they're like a fitness account, like how they stay fit, how they eat, things like that. And I just want to throw it out there that there is like nothing wrong with that. I think it's awesome that we can learn more from people that we don't even know. You can be inspired by anyone on social media. And I think that that's really beautiful. It can bring the world together. But I do believe that influencers are sometimes dangerous if you don't take care of how you feel when you follow them. And what I mean by that is if they make you feel like you are not enough, or, anything like that that kind of makes you feel less than, or like, wow, I need to be doing better. That's where I think it gets into some tricky territory, because social media, I believe, and everyone has their own opinion on social media, but I believe that social media is a fun place to stay connected to people that you care about. I follow lots of people, literally from, I believe, elementary school or middle school, that I care about them. And, even if we don't talk ever, it's still fun to keep up on their lives. And, some people don't feel the same way. Some people are super private with their social media. But for me, it's more of a way to just kind of keep up on people if I can't always make time to see them in person. And so that's why I use social media. And I also kind of use it as like a personal scrapbook for my own life. So if I have something fun going on, or if my baby has a milestone that I'm really happy about, or if I go on a fun date with Dylan and I want to kind of, keep track of that, I post it. And I know that I go in a lot of waves of posting a lot, posting too much, posting, not as much. It's just kind of weird how I do that. But sometimes I literally get annoyed with myself because I'm like, wow, I'm posting too much. But then I have a picture that I really want to post and I'm like, I just want to post it. It's really silly. I don't know if anyone feels the same way, but sometimes I get a little embarrassed about what I post. And I'm like, why do I do that? And it's because I'm comparing myself to how other people post. And so that is one of the questions that I had asked you guys. I said, how do we all compare ourselves and our lives on social media? How do you find yourselves, comparing yourself? And a lot of the answers were one of the main ones was that we just feel bad for not doing more in every aspect of life. Whether you're seeing other people graduating college, or you even see them just exercising every day, or they're taking a ton of vacations, or you can tell that they have a lot of money. Or even if you're seeing them being able to spend a lot more family time than you can. I think that we compare ourselves a lot with just everything going on. And it makes us feel like we are not enough or doing enough. And that is so sad, because everyone is unique and everyone has their own stuff going on. Everyone always calls Instagram, I'm going to specifically talk about Instagram because, I don't know, that's the main one where you post pictures. But I feel like everyone truly uses Instagram as a highlight reel. And some people say it's because they want to make their social media a positive place that people can come to feel safe. And I agree with that. I think that's awesome. I do like to post mostly positive things. Occasionally I'll post a quote or something on my story that's maybe a little different than what I normally would, but it's just because I like how it makes me feel, so I want to share it with other people. But I do notice that as I scroll through my timeline or my feed, sometimes I do feel especially during summer, or the breaks that people have, people go on these super fun vacations, and I'm like, wow, I wish I was doing that. I'm sure anyone would rather go on a vacation to Hawaii than sit at home doing the laundry. I don't know. Or working, you know what I mean? So we definitely compare ourselves in all of ways of life, I think. I think it's pretty inevitable sometimes, just because we're always trying to better ourselves, I think, as people. So it's natural to see what others are doing. So another big thing that I personally notice that I compare myself with, and I think you guys have agreed with me on my question box on Instagram, we see a lot of other moms going all out with the holidays, the parties, the friends. They get done, they get ready every single day, full hair, full makeup, things like that. And especially with mothers, I think there is so much pressure to make every holiday and every party oh my gosh, the Great Gatsby type of parties. It's so much pressure to have this new thing. Okay, sorry, I'm cutting myself off here, but this just popped in my head. I don't know what you guys follow on Instagram, but if you're like me, I follow a few influencers that make me feel good. And even them, I've seen this huge turn in like bright colors and fun stuff and like, you know, cute little, I don't know, for example, it's popping in my head, it's like Paw Patrol for like kids. Like, you know, they'll have like Paw Patrol parties and stuff. But I've seen a lot of social media is turning things into like super natural tan beige colors, very neutral. Everything has to be aesthetically pleasing. And the posts have to be so curated and perfect. And the parties have to have like, they're like for 4-year-olds. And they have like these gorgeous setups of like bohemian flowers. And if that's your style, I swear it's fine. Like, no big deal. It's just sometimes I feel the pressure to shift how I want to do something to match that so that it looks good on Instagram. I know that sounds silly, but there is just a rise in making everything so extra, like, for lack of a better term. And I've noticed a lot of people doing, for example, like Easter baskets. You know how that's like a thing? Like, I feel like that's been a thing for years now, like decades, you know, whatever. But now I feel like it's almost an expectation to make holiday baskets for every single holiday for your kids. And it's like, that's great that you want to show your kids love that way, and that's totally fine if you want to. But sometimes I think that puts an extra expectation on other moms that weren't thinking about doing that. And it's like, oh shoot, I have to get like Valentine's Day stuff for my kid, or now I have to get, even I've seen like St. Patrick's Day baskets. I'm like, what do you even put in that? Like Lucky Charms? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of silly. Like, I feel like people make such a big deal out of these events. And sometimes it's nice just to have a simple holiday. You know, we just passed Christmas a couple months ago, and, you know, that also has to do with how much money you have, and that gets into a lot of different things. But I think it's really hard with social media to see, like, if someone gets, like, a lot of stuff that you know are, like, hundreds of dollars, and you only get, like, a few things that add up to $100. Like, I think it plays tricks on your mind to be like, wow, I'm not good enough, and I need to be doing more. Or, like, they have parties for everything, or, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just something I wanted to bring up, because I think it's fine if you do that stuff. Like, if you have the money for it, or even if you do something cheap for it, like, that's totally fine. I'm personally going to give my son an Easter basket, even if he's only, 5 months old, 6 months old. But that's just what I choose to do. I'm just going to do one for that holiday, because in my family, that's like a tradition, is doing an Easter basket. But like for Christmas, I didn't even get Andrew any gifts, because I knew he wouldn't remember it. He was only 3 months old. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. I think I got him like a matching tie with my husband Dylan. Like, I gave them ties. Whoop-de-doo. So not really exciting. But anyways, so something else that we said that we all compare ourselves with is comparing body size and shapes. And this is where I will probably get a little deep. If you want to cut yourself off from listening or skip forward, that's totally fine. I 100% understand that. To be honest with you guys, I think it started really young, honestly, but probably more in middle school when I did get an Instagram. I started noticing that a lot of other people were skinnier than me, and I was going through that kind of like middle school awkward chubby phase. And like, I literally wore this one red Aeropostale zip up hoodie for like a year straight every day, because it just made me feel comfortable, and I was like hiding my body in it. I noticed that other girls my age were not going through this kind of chubby phase. They were like staying really skinny, as you know, most children are. And it kind of got in my head a bit. And then I really don't know how I found out about it, but somehow I found out about eating disorders and how you can basically force yourself to lose weight by hurting your body, essentially. Anorexia means that you go without food, or you make yourself starve in order to lose weight and have a calorie deficit. And bulimia is usually when you either eat a lot of food and then you throw it up, or you just throw up what you eat. And so somehow I got roped into that when I was pretty young. I started looking up ways to help myself lose weight. I was pinning a ton of exercises on Pinterest that I could do. I was looking at hashtags on Instagram for anorexia and bulimia to kind of get tips on how to stay full off of like a piece of gum, or like just things like that are not appropriate. And no girl or man, no girl or boy should ever feel like they need to do that to feel better about themselves. And so all my life, I have compared my body size and my shape to other people, especially women. And it is so hard because I want to feel happy for other girls. I am, I'm not weird about it. Like, I don't constantly look at like other people's body shapes or anything, but it is in the back of my mind, like, wow, they look really good and I would not look good if I wore what they're wearing. Or, wow, they look super good in a bikini. Like, I wish that I could like look like that. Or like, I wish that I was doing more like exercise to feel better about myself. And so, having an eating disorder, I don't have it now. I actually didn't get professional help for it, which I kind of wish I would have sometimes. But I was able to kind of almost grow out of it. I don't really know how to say it, but I just kind of stopped, really. Like, I didn't end up making myself throw up anymore because it made me feel gross, and I would get way too hungry if I starved myself, and so I would just eat a ton of calories. I really felt like not good enough because of social media, and it's not anyone's fault but my own. Like, I don't want to ever place blame on my parents for like not like regulating my social media use, because they had no clue that this type of stuff was on there. They did not know. Like, my parents did follow my Facebook. Like, they had all my passwords to everything, they could look at it. But they didn't know the secret hashtags that I was looking up or things like that. Like, I would clear my search history so that no one would know. So I don't want to place any blame on my parents or people for not noticing, because they wouldn't have known. If I were in their position, I wouldn't have known. So I feel really bad for girls these days because, in my personal life, I'm a church leader. I teach 14-year-olds gospel doctrine for my church. And, we just had a conversation about social media in a class, and they all brought up like that they compare themselves to other girls they follow or like their friends. And that makes me so sad because I was there and I'm still there sometimes, like at 24 years old. Like, these girls are 10 years younger than me, but they feel the exact same way that I did. And it's probably honestly way worse in today's world. You have the whole world of, I don't know how to say it, but like Instagram baddies, like whole Kardashian vibes where they post practically nude pictures on Instagram every day. You have celebrities you follow that you like, and they seem to have a perfect body type to you, or a perfect pretty face with no acne or anything like that. Different things like that can really affect you. And so it is really hard to look online and see someone with a different body size and a different shape. And I know that sometimes we just can't control that. Like, if your friend is skinnier than you, you can't control that. You have to control how you feel about it. I've had to learn it's like a very long process, but I've had to learn not to be jealous of someone because they're naturally skinny. I've had to learn to find the good in my body type. For example, if you haven't seen what I look like, I have kind of like an hourglass bustier shape, which I do think is beautiful. I do believe that I'm beautiful, but it is hard when I see other girls with my body shape or body type, but they're smaller or skinnier than me. That is where it gets hard. for me, or I'm like, sometimes I wish I had like a more athletic body type or a flat stomach or whatever, anyways. And there's many skinny girls that I know, well, it's hard to judge what even is skinny anymore, but, basically like size 0 to 4, where they wish they had something different with their body. So I'm just throwing it out there. No one is 100% confident in who they are body-wise, like I'm pretty sure. So you are not alone if you feel this way, or if you are struggling with trying to lose weight or gain weight, whatever is best for your body type, or your health. It is so hard to see it on social media. So my heart goes out to you if you're struggling with an eating disorder or things like that, because it is truly taxing on your self-image. And I honestly just cried to my husband last night about how I'm so sad that I'm not losing my postpartum weight as fast as I thought I would. I'm almost 5 months postpartum, and I've only lost half of what I would like to. So, that I'm just speaking from the heart right now, that I truly know how it feels to feel like crap about your body and to kind of hate what you see in the mirror sometimes. But on the flip side, to also look at your child, your baby, and be so grateful for what your body did. I love my body that it did that. I love that it was able to get pregnant. Like, that in itself is a huge, massive miracle, and it's a blessing to me. And that's what I try to focus on, is I'm getting healthier and losing weight for him, so that I can play with him and run around with him, and so that I can do fun dates with my husband, like rock climbing and bike riding and hiking, because those are the things that my husband enjoys. And right now I'm currently not in shape to do those things to keep up with him. So that's my motivation for getting healthy. And I really need to stop looking at Instagram with body shapes to be my reason why I want to lose weight. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know that was kind of a lot, but we can kind of move on from that now. But there is one more thing that I just realized I forgot to say was, if you follow too many people that don't look like you, for example, your body shape, your skin color, whatever, it can be hard. It can really be hard because you feel like you're the minority. Even if they're a positive account, someone brought that up, it hurts them when they follow too many skinny girls, even if they are a positive account. And that is so hard because it's they're not doing anything wrong, but yet we're feeling jealous of them for living their lives. And it's so hard to just stop that. And so I think that that's just a huge thing to think about yourself, how you personally want to change that mindset, because really only you can do it for yourself. I can give you tips on what I'm going to do or what other people have said, and we'll get to that at the end of this podcast episode. But I just want you to think during this episode, if you do want to make a change in your life, you can, but it's going to be unique to your situation. So, the other question I had asked on my Instagram was, how do you compare yourself in motherhood, and how do you compare your kids to other kids, and how do you stop that? So a lot of what was said, and how I feel as well, is that we compare, especially with babies. We'll start off with babies and then get older. We compare our babies and how they're developing. Everyone's always oh, my baby is smiling from day one, or they learned how to crawl, or they've learned how to roll over, or they're eating solids already, or they're walking. And, sometimes it's hard to feel like you're doing a good job if your kids aren't really measuring up the way you think they should. I had a really hard time because even with my birth, I was comparing myself to other women's births, which is crazy because there's no way I could have controlled what happened to me and my body, and they can't control how they gave birth either. But there were a few people that gave birth within the same month as me. There were 3 specific girls I follow on Instagram, and they all had babies within a week of me. And I was so bummed out because they all were able to deliver vaginally, and I was the only one who had a C-section. And I just, first of all, I felt lonely because I wanted to kind of talk to someone who knew what I was going through at that time, like fresh out of the C-section. And, I just felt like they had a different experience than me. They had maybe a better experience than me because theirs was like quicker and more like natural to them. And that frustrated me. And I knew that the road to C-section recovery was going to be harder than delivering vaginally usually. Unless you have a complication with tearing or something, then maybe it's not. I don't know. But that really made me bummed out. And then, of course, as I got into trying to breastfeed, I had a really big problem. This is probably just TMI, but the way that my breasts and nipples were, my baby did not want to latch on very well. He was put in the NICU within like the first 4 hours of being born. And so he was given an IV and he was given bottles right away. And they asked if they could give him that. And I said yes, because I wanted him to be fed and, have nutrients going in right away. But it did make me sad because I felt like it kind of tainted my ability to breastfeed. And so as I navigated that experience, there was a lot that went into it, so I won't dig into that right now. But as I navigated the balance of trying to breastfeed or pump or, bottle feed, I was doing all of them. I was doing all three of them. I was comparing myself because other friends and people were able to breastfeed and like no problem. And no one ever talks about how hard breastfeeding really is and like the pressure of doing it. And it's so hard to feel like, I felt, this is my experience. You might not feel the same if you didn't breastfeed, but I felt like, wow, like, my body should have been made to do this. Like, why can't it just happen? Like, why is it such a struggle? I would always joke with my husband, like, wow, I was given these big boobs in life. Like, why couldn't I put them to use for my baby, like what they were actually made for? And, I'm totally joking, but it's like, it really did feel like, well, why can't this just work? Like, this is crazy. So I totally compared myself with, breastfeeding and things like that. I felt a lot of pressure to breastfeed, and it was mostly from myself. Not other people were telling me that. I'll make that clear because I don't want to make anyone feel bad if they ever talked to me about my experience. It was me putting pressure on myself because of what I had seen on social media. So that was what that was. And, now my baby is like learning how to, well, he's been smiling for a while, but he's learning how to like laugh and coo and babble. And, he's learning how to sleep. Like I'm trying, not sleep training, but I'm trying to figure that out, how to make him sleep through the night. And there will be girls or mothers that post like, oh, my baby just slept 9 hours through the night. Like, wow, what a good sleeper. And I'm like, man, I woke up like 3 times last night with my baby and he was crazy. So like, it's really frustrating to like see that other babies are doing, quote, better than yours, or what you think they're doing better. But something that I've learned to help me stop that I want to put out there is, first of all, you are their mother for a reason. No matter how your baby came to you, whether it's through natural ways, IVF, adoption, fostering, whatever that may be, you are their mother for a reason. I don't know if you believe in God. I believe in God. I know that God gave me my son, Andrew, to be my son. And I know that he knows I'm his mom. And nothing will ever change that. And I just have to remind myself when I feel sad that I'm not comparing or measuring up to these other mothers, that I am his mom and I do have mother's intuition and I know what's best for him and no one can take that away from me. I want to make him feel loved and safe and make sure all of his physical needs are met, right now. And that's my priority. And so I'm going to do what's best for my baby. And that has really helped me to stop comparing my way that I mother to him and the way that he is developing from other mothers. And I hope that you can also feel that way as well. Another thing that I've done more practically, rather than just like a feeling, to help me stop comparing my baby's development is when I take him to the pediatrician, I really trust my pediatrician. He's amazing. When he tells me like, hey, your son is on track, he's doing great, he's perfect, he's healthy, I trust that. And I take his advice for everything. I ask him, what should he be doing at this stage? Is it okay if he's doing this? Like, when should he be sleeping? Can I give him solid foods? ABC, And so if you really can't find a way to stop comparing your kids to other kids, just trust what your pediatrician is saying. Like, I feel like you can usually trust them along with your own intuition. And so I think that's a great place to start as well, like for something tangible, like at your next checkup, like, make sure that you feel like everything's okay with your baby and just take confidence in that. Like, you're doing all you can. Babies learn at different speeds and different waves of speed. Like, sometimes they take a while to learn something. Sometimes they learn something overnight, and that's totally fine. I think it only becomes kind of a problem if maybe your doctor brings it up or if you feel in your heart that something is wrong, and then you can take care of that how you need to. So you're doing a good job, mama. You're doing good. You're doing what you can, and you know how best to take care of your baby because they are yours. And I think that goes on to as your kids get older, and teenagers even, you've been with them the whole time. You know what their personalities are, their feelings, their fears, what makes them happy. You are the person that knows them best. And so I think that if you just feel like that in your heart and you truly believe it, then the comparison can kind of go out the window because you just can feel confident that you have done what you know is right for your child. And it's good to go to other mothers for advice or help if you want to. I think that's a great solution, honestly, sometimes. But then sometimes it's not, because then sometimes you get unsolicited advice, and that can sometimes be harmful or feel a little judgmental. I feel like a good way of, kind of navigating that is if you have a question to ask someone you trust. Maybe don't go to all of Instagram for it. Like, sometimes if I want a lot of opinions, I'll go to Instagram. Like, for example, I just asked on my Instagram a couple weeks ago, what sleep sack do you guys use? Because my baby's transitioning out of a swaddle. And I got a lot of opinions because I wanted to see what was like the main answer. And that was great because I was able to figure out what I needed. But then sometimes for maybe like a more personal issue, I've gone to just one of my friends who's a mother who I can trust. And that feels so much more personal and like less judgmental. And you're not getting a lot of people giving their opinions. And it doesn't feel bombarding or like you're doing something wrong. It's just like a one-on-one conversation. And mothers that have gone on before you, they have a lot to say because they care. And so I think if we also look out for each other, and offer comfort, it's just going to help your community of motherhood grow, and you're going to feel like a better mother overall. And so, something that I kind of turned from a negative into a positive was there was one of these friends I was following that had a baby within kind of the time frame I had my baby, and her baby was already enjoying tummy time, and my baby hated tummy time. Like, I set him down and within 20 seconds he was screaming his head off. Like, no matter what I did, I would get on the floor with him, I would give him toys, I would sing to him, I would like clap my hands and try to make noise so he'd look up and touch his cheek to turn his head, things like that. I was doing everything I thought I could. But I noticed that this other baby his same age was already enjoying tummy time and lifting her head up like pretty steadily. And honestly, at first I was jealous. I will admit that. I was like, wow, like, I wish my baby liked tummy time. Like, why doesn't Andrew like tummy time like the way this little baby girl does? But I learned instead to ask that mom for help and advice instead of just quietly being jealous from the side. Like, I asked her, I said, what do you do to help her enjoy tummy time? Because my son hates it. What do you do? And she actually recommended a really cool little play mat, like a little water mat that like you fill up with water and air, and it squishes little toys in it, and it's really bright colors. And that honestly, so I ordered it, and I used it, and Andrew really loved it, and it did help. And over time, he did enjoy tummy time. It wasn't right away, but it helped. And so I'm really grateful that that was a learning experience for me, to turn what could have been jealousy into like reaching out to her to ask for help. And like, she was super nice about it. She didn't say anything weird or judgmental, like, oh, that's weird, Andrew doesn't like tummy time, you know, whatever. Like, it would be weird if she had reacted like that. So I was really grateful that she just helped me out and gave me tips. And it's, you know, it felt good because that now I feel like, okay, I can go to her again, or I can go to other friends if I have a question. So that's just another tip, is like, if you're feeling jealous of how a baby is developing, maybe just ask them, like, how do you get them to like that? Because mine doesn't, or mine isn't doing that yet. You totally don't have to do that. You can just live your life how you want. But that's just what I did, and it helped me. And it also helped me stop comparing our two babies, basically. And I know that it's so difficult to feel like you have no control over it as well, but you have to remember, they're just babies. Like, they are just learning. They are so new to this world. And so, you know, of course they're not going to get everything perfect right away. So anyways, I asked on my Instagram kind of one last question to kind of end it all. And I said, in anything of life, whether it's motherhood, your own body image, yourself, your stage of life, whatever, how do you stop comparing yourself on social media? And I got a really great box of answers from you guys. Something I really loved was someone said to follow a diversified feed, meaning, I think this was more for body types, but, you know, follow different people than you. Like, follow people that don't live the exact same life as you, or lifestyle, or whether it's a body shape. Like, if you are really on the tinier side, maybe follow more like mid-sized to plus-size women, or if you're plus size, follow other plus-size women or skinnier girls. Like, you know, follow a variety of people, because everyone is so different. And if you follow the same exact cookie cutter type of people, or the same type of influencers, you're gonna feel like you're not good enough. Like, it's almost a guarantee. You're gonna feel like you're the minority, or like you're missing out on something. So I did that. When I came home from my LDS mission in Samoa, I think I gained like 45 pounds. I don't know. I gained a lot of weight. And that was the first time in my life I've ever gained a good chunk of weight, over like 5 pounds. And it really took a toll on my self-esteem. I had gone up a couple pant sizes. Like, none of my jeans fit me when I came home. My shirts and my bras were too tight. Like, everything was too tight on me. I had to go shopping for new stuff. I felt like crap in all the things I was wearing. But I found this one curvy or plus size. I don't know what she goes by, but she calls herself a curvy fashion blogger. If you want to look up who it is, it's Sarah Tripp. It's Sassy Red Lipstick is her username on Instagram. And she is an advocate for plus size confidence, or, you know, bigger, curvier women. And, you know, that really helped me, because I followed her on Instagram. And when I was feeling like so different, and like I didn't even know what my body was anymore, you know, following her actually really helped me find confidence, even though I had no clue who she was. She was just a random beautiful woman I followed on Instagram, but she really did influence me for that time of my life, and I'm really grateful for her influence in my life. And so I do believe that if you follow diversified people on your feed, it can really help you feel inspired and feel better about yourself as well, and to know that like you're not different, like you're normal. Like, so I actually really loved that piece of advice. Another piece of advice to stop comparing yourself is to literally set boundaries for your social media. So basically, examples of this would be taking a social media break, or, and you know what I mean by that, like just not going on the app for a day, or even for a week, or whatever you need to do to help you feel like you can take a breather and focus on real life. Another boundary that I personally love to do is if you don't want to unfollow someone because you still want to follow them to, it might be a little awkward to like unfollow them because you're like maybe friends with them, or you're, it just might be like not cordial to unfollow them necessarily, but you are getting a little overwhelmed with the content they post. I love to mute people if I need to. I don't do it a ton, but for some accounts that I follow, if I feel like it's just getting a little too much to handle, but I still care about their posts, I'll just mute their stories sometimes because, I don't know, it's just a thing I do, so that I'm not bombarded with what they're doing in their life all the time. I can just choose through my agency to go check up on them if I feel like it. Like what I mean by that is like checking their Instagram profile or their stories, if I am curious. And that has been a huge help in my social media, how I approach it, because then I don't feel like bombarded with things I may not want to see all the time, but I still like care about them. Like overall, it's just, I can take a little break from their lives so much in my life. And so I encourage you that if you like, honestly, one day I just looked at my Instagram. I took like an hour. I was following almost 1,000 people on Instagram, I think. I don't know. It was a lot. And I just took like an hour and I scrolled through who I was following. And I either unfollowed them if I just was like, okay, they don't serve my life anymore. Like, not in a super selfish way, but you know what I mean? Like, they don't make me feel good about my life and I don't talk to them anymore. Whatever you need to do. I unfollowed them or I muted them if I felt like I needed to see a little less of their lives. And honestly, if you follow me and you feel the need to do that, I encourage you to, if it helps you feel better, because I have done it to people as well. And it's a great way to set boundaries for yourself. I know you can also set time limits on certain apps. Like literally through your phone, it'll send you an alarm like, hey, I actually did that for TikTok when I was in school. I was doing my finals and I was so like, I used TikTok as such a distraction and I would be on there for like 45 minutes to an hour and like I wouldn't even notice it. So I set a timer that I could only be on TikTok for 15 minutes a day, which is honestly so many videos because each video at the most is like a minute long. Now they're like 3 minutes long, but at the time they were very short little videos. And so that's like a ton of videos if you think about it, like going on for an hour. Like that's kind of crazy that I was on there for that long. So I set a time limit of 15 minutes and it helped me focus because I was like, okay, time's up. So maybe if you're finding yourself a little addicted to how long you're spending time on a social media app, but you don't necessarily want to do like a break from it, like a time away from it, you could just set a timer that like, okay, I have an hour for Instagram, I have 30 minutes for Facebook, I have, 15 minutes for TikTok, whatever you choose. I think that's a great idea to set boundaries for your social media. And then the last two pieces of advice to stop comparing are kind of more like developing a feeling. It's not really something you like tangibly do, but I think it's important to keep in mind. So just knowing that you are working on yourself and that you're unique. I think that's huge because we're all different, but sometimes social media makes us feel like we need to be the same. And I think that's pretty harmful to society right now, whether it's, how you look or how you think or how you raise your family or even your politics or your religion. I think it's amazing to follow lots of different people with different beliefs than you. I follow different people that have different political views than me. And when I look through their stories and they post something that I don't agree with politically, sometimes I do, but I try not to just roll my eyes and hurry and scroll past. I try to take the time to read it, like click on the post and read the caption just to see where they're coming from. Because sometimes like Instagram posts are just such a small snippet of how you actually believe. Like it's not beneficial to just judge someone off of one thing they post. And so I think that's another thing to help yourself stop comparing is to just follow different types of people that are positive to you in your life, that make you feel good about life. But that is something I do. Like, I don't follow everyone who believes exactly as I do. I follow people who aren't members of the gospel that I'm a member of, and they're great people, and I learn a lot from them. And that has, that's just how life should be, I think. I think we should be willing to give everyone a chance, even if they aren't like us. And it has really helped me not compare myself as much. And truly, you are a unique person. There is no one on this planet that has the same thoughts or actions or beliefs or feelings as you. They don't have the same trials as you. Even if they go through the same thing, it's always a different mindset because they're a different person. So, you can always know that you are unique, and like there's no reason for you to be exactly the same as everyone else. And kind of to end on that, like, my husband actually said this one, to know that everyone is at a different spot of life than you. And I thought that was a really good point of view because it is so true. I think that as a young mom in my mid-20s, that sounds really weird. I'm used to being like 20 years old. It's really hard because people are at such different points of life right now. If I scroll on my Instagram, people my age are either still not married, they're either traveling, or they're going to school right now, or they're in a relationship on their way to getting married, or a majority of my friends are married and they're starting to have babies, or I even see a lot of them, they've been married for a minute and they're struggling with infertility. And, people are going on a bunch of vacations, or they're switching jobs, they're buying homes, or they're moving, they're graduating college, or they're jumping into a real life sort of career. I follow lots of different people that are older than me as well. They're like maybe in their 30s to 40s. And so they have older kids. So they're dealing with like sending teenagers to school, or having certain conversations with their kids. There is just there's so many situations of life. There's marriage struggles, there's kid struggles, there's personal struggles, faith crises. I don't know how to say it. Everyone is so different than you. No one is going through exactly what you're going through. And so it's like, how can I compare myself where I'm at, like a young mom who I'm just learning for the first time how to raise my baby, to like a 35-year-old mom who has like 4 kids and she's been doing it for a while. Like, and she seems to have it all together. How in the world can I compare myself to her? Like, it's just not true. The lies I tell myself in my head, like, wow, I need to be doing better like her. Well, she's had years of experience, and that's just one example of motherhood. This could be at anything. Like, if you're not married and you're seeing all these people around you happy and in love and, getting engaged, or they're married, celebrating anniversaries, that can be very taxing on your self-image. And that can feel like, wow, is there a person to love for me? Am I going to find love ever? I don't know. And it's like, it's just so crazy to me that, it's like you can't compare yourself to them because it's just their life and your life is so different. And like I said, everyone just posts their highlight reels on social media for the most part. There are some accounts that are really real and raw, and I do like following those because they make me feel like, I'm not alone. They talk about like the hard parts of life. So I also encourage you to find people like that you can follow on your social media, or just make friends that feel the same way you do. Dylan and I right now, we're at this stage of life where we are about at 2 years of marriage. We just had a baby who's less than 6 months. We are very happy and in love still. I would very much say that. We hardly, have an issue. But, something that we're personally struggling with right now, and maybe it's more me, but Dylan is preparing for PA school within the next year or so. And so he's been really busy studying. He just took a GRE, I believe it's called. It's like the big standardized test. And he has to learn how to apply for the certain schools he wants to go to, and we have to make these big life decisions. And I'm just I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a career. and we're working off of one income, and so we know how to get by, and we're not rich by any means, but we're not poor by any means. So it's like, we're comfortable, but we're saving, and we budget and things like that. But something that I really struggle with is seeing how many people are like traveling right now. I don't know if it's because of COVID or just the fact that when I was pregnant last year, I couldn't really do much traveling or like a lot of fun summer activities because I felt either sick or gross or just couldn't do it because it wasn't safe. Like, for example, I really like Disneyland, and I swear everyone and their dog went to Disneyland last year when it reopened. And it was making me so mad and jealous because I just wanted to get out of Utah. Like, I just wanted to go to Disneyland and like, there's other examples. Like, I wanted to go like to Cancun or, Hawaii, like things like that. But we just didn't have the time off of Dylan's work, or we didn't have the money saved up for it. And that's just a fact of life that I had to realize. Like, I was like, you know what? I can't compare because we're just at this stage of life right now. Like, and something else that's been on our minds is like, oh my gosh, it would be so nice to have like a home, like buying a home. And I feel like a lot of people these days are finding ways to have the money to buy a home pretty quickly in life. Like they're, not even in their mid-20s and they're like able to buy a home. And I think that's incredible if you are able to do that right now. But for us, it's just not realistic. But I've been comparing myself so bad. But it's like, I think about it and I'm like, I love where we live. Like, I love our little home. It serves what we need. I like how it's decorated. I have made it my own. It's a safe place for my husband and my baby to come to every day. They are happy. There's love here. And that's what I have to focus on is like, just because you achieve these bigger things in life doesn't mean you'll be happier either. Like, you can have all the money in the world. You can have the biggest home. You can have a full closet of things you want. You can be the best mom ever. And there's still going to be something you're going to be unhappy about. And that's just how life is, because no one is perfect. No one has it all. If they have something, they're lacking in something else. You know what I mean? So just keeping those things in mind as you go through your social media, I just want to challenge you to, as you go through your social media today, after you hear this podcast, really think about, okay, who are the people I'm following? Do I need to make changes? If so, what do I need to do? And really implement it and just do it. Try it out. See if it changes your mood. I think that honestly, creating boundaries on social media has helped my eating disorder mindset, my confidence, my marriage, because I'm not comparing my marriage to other people's, my motherhood, and just the stage of life I'm in. And so I just want to let you guys know that this is a real thing. This is a huge part of our time of life, our generation, and the kids that we raise, their generations, are going to get bombarded with social media stuff. And so we really have to be aware of what we are taking into our lives electronically, because it does translate into our lives in the reality. So I encourage you to do that. And I want you to know that you are unique and you are loved and you do have value and you do have something to offer the world, even if you don't know what that is yet. You do have a place in this world. If you are going through a challenge, for example, like an eating disorder or mental health issues, there is help. You can even come to me. You can always DM me or text me. I would love to chat with you. I'm not a professional by any means, but I'll be your friend and I'll listen. And I just know that through social media, you can have a positive experience if you let yourself and if you take the steps to stop comparing yourself and to work on yourself. So I hope you all have a great day. I hope that this conversation has been beneficial for you and it gives you ideas to change what you need to change for yourself. You can totally like and subscribe and follow this podcast. That would really help me out a lot. You can share this podcast if you found something inspiring. That would really be great. I'm so grateful for you guys giving me the time of your day to listen. So I hope you have a wonderful day and know that you are loved and valued and you're awesome no matter what stage of life or motherhood that you're going through. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.